Basically, what I'm trying to get at is your mindset is very, very important. And believe it or not, a lot of these mental blockages and these limiting beliefs that we have, they're not your fault. However, they are your responsibility to change. Nobody gave you these beliefs, but they are your beliefs, so you're responsible to changing them. No one's gonna feel bad for you if you're walking around with a loser mentality, pouting and complaining and crying all the time. Sorry. No one's gonna care, because the people that are happy, living their life at the highest levels, we're too on a whole nother frequency to even notice, because we're focusing on what we want, like I said in the previous clip. So from the age of 0 to 7, sometimes you wouldn't believe this, it could actually be when you're in the womb. Those are our imprint years. So 0 to 7, our unconscious minds or subconscious minds are like sponges. So we're picking up everything from our environment. So if you were born in a poverty household with poverty beliefs, like your parents had poor beliefs, you're the leader now, and you have to not only transform yourself, but everybody in your bubble of influence to raise their thinking. It's going to take lots of affirmations. You can do hypnosis. You can do a million things. All it takes is willingness to do it, though. It doesn't just magically happen. It takes time. So make sure you're reprogramming those limiting beliefs that you have, because limiting beliefs you have at the subconscious level, law of attraction is attracting those beliefs, so that way you can encounter them and you can face them, and you can overcome them once and for all. You're gonna have the same patterns, the same problems keep happening over and over in your life until you take them head on and just handle it. For me, money was the number one thing. It took me years to overcome my belief system about money. And once I did, like a flip of the switch, just like David, I flipped the switch and it's never been the same. I don't want you guys to go through years of learning, so I'm trying to shortcut your learnings and give you information that helped me. So that's basically what the whole message of this video is about. And the good news is, it's proven through neuroscience and neuroplasticity that you can change. Your brain is malleable, and it can pretty much rewire itself to become the person that you want to be. So you are in control. You have the power within you. It's just a matter of choice. We all have free will, and it's just as easy to stay on the complaining side, I'm a victim, as it is to step over to the empowerment side. So what equation do you want to live on? The disempowerment or the empowerment side of the equation? Everybody in my Telegram, what I've noticed is they're on the empowerment side, and we're taking action, we're kicking butt, and yeah, so that's just some thoughts that I wanted to share.
So I realized that the cell membrane was the equivalent of a computer chip, and that the environment was actually typing on the surface of the cell, because on the surface are these receptors, which are the equivalent of keys on a keyboard. So when information from the environment would hit the appropriate receptor, would send a signal in the cell and control the hard drive and the programming. And while I was doing this, I realized, oh my goodness, the difference between one human and another human is that on the surface of our cells, we each have a unique set of receptors, like keys on a keyboard, and that each of us has our own set of unique antennas called self-receptors. What was relevant about this was I realized is that if you take the self-receptors off the surface of the cell, you lose the identity. And then I said, wait a minute. The identity is not actually the self-receptors, it's what's being picked up by the antenna. And all of a sudden I said, but the antennas are on the outside of the cell, and they're reading the environment. And then it said, oh my God, my identity is an information from the environment that's being picked up by these keys and then played into the system. Well, immediately the first thing that came across my head was, but if the cell dies, the environment is still there. and my identity is somewhere out here. And it's like, all of a sudden, it's just like, blew me away, because here I am living in a mechanical, physical, biomedical world of here you are, then you die, then you're dust, and then all of a sudden I start to realize my identity is not even inside the cell. My identity is a signal in the environment. So a body is like a television set, and the antennas are receiving a station, so I'm playing the Bruce show right now. And what was relevant about that was, at that very instant I realized, yeah, but when a picture tube breaks on a television, you say the television's dead, and then I say, yeah, but did the broadcast stop? And that's where I realized, oh my God, the identity is a continuously playing broadcast, and the body is a television set that comes and goes. And all of a sudden it says, immortality. And here is like, but I'm not a physical mortal, I am an energy mortal. I'm part of the field. I'm something out there that's being picked up. Well, from 1 minute, a whole life of 40-some years of mechanical biology, genes, biochemistry, and all that, and then 1 minute later, after understanding this, it's like immortality, spirit, and all this other stuff. It was like, wow, it was a real blow of my mind kind of understanding. And yet the reality is, once I started to move into this plane, I started to recognize the value of this information. I started to recognize the value of the thoughts, the energy fields, and all this. And what was more important as a scientist for me was, funny, because I was so excited by the mechanical stuff that I couldn't wait to tell anybody. If I could get people into a room and sit down and say, look how this thing works. If you see how it works, it's the most amazing thing in the world, because you can create the most wonderful life if you understand it. And people in the audience would go, Lipton, your life doesn't look that good for a guy who says you know this stuff. And that was my second wake-up call. My second wake-up call was a simple reality. Just because I became consciously aware of this information, it didn't change the life that I had. And I had to then start to understand it was more than just information. I had to get into the nature of the mind and the subconscious mind and the conscious mind, and start to realize, just because knowledge came into my conscious mind, it didn't change the programming of my life. And this is the big issue that most people have in today's new age world, is like, I read the self-help book, I went to the lectures, I went to my psychiatrist, and we found out all the reasons why my life is this way, and yet my life is still this way. And it's like, this is exactly where I was myself. The point is, the conscious mind learns in a different way than the subconscious mind. So while I had all this magnificent knowledge about how I could make a wonderful life, my programs were still from my childhood, were still limiting me and preventing me from experiencing it. But the fun part as a scientist was to try to understand the nature of this, then start to rewrite the programming, which I ended up doing, to find out, for example, that I do live in heaven. And this is my life today, and now it's much more exciting to go out and tell people about this information, because not only can I tell them about how this information arises, but I can tell them about how this information becomes incorporated in their lives, and how you can use this information to create health and happiness and harmony on this beautiful planet.
Hello everyone, a quick broadcast right here. I want to talk about your mindset behind how you treat money. So one of the biggest shifts in my abundance that happened a few years back was simply I changed my relationship with money. And I think this is so important. So back at one point, when I always found myself in debt, when I always found myself not having money, I never had enough, I was always in scarcity, I was always in lack, something changed. And that one thing that changed for me was I didn't treat money the same. So I'll give you one example. Most people, when they pay their bills, they do it they're like, oh yeah, here's the money, but they do it and they're upset, they're angry about it, they're not happy that they had to do this investment, right? And so what are you saying to the universe? When you're giving, you don't like it, it's bad, it's a waste, you're saying all that things. Everything works in the infinity symbol. So the energy that you put out there is energy that's going to come back, right? So ever since I started literally being happy to pay my rent, to pay my phone bill, I'm happy to pay it because I'm getting the roof over my head. I have a beautiful view. I think of all the benefits that I'm getting, and I'm thankful, and I'm gladly giving. A lot of times I pay my rent early. I'm paying it early because I'm so thankful. And when I do that, I pay it early, all of a sudden people pay me early. New opportunities come my way. and the money is able to flow in the infinity symbol a lot more smooth for me. That's what I learned. Sorry, cut out. So that's also how I treat investments. I care so much about my investments, and I want to see, they're like seeds. I want to see these seeds go into the best soil, the organic soil in the world, and have the cleanest water feed these seeds and watch it grow. That's why I don't gamble. I feel like when you gamble, it shows that you don't care about that energy and that time that you put in to get that money. You don't really care about it. You're just throwing it out there. So everything that I do is very strategic with intention. And when I do that, money seems to keep coming to me, because when it comes to me, I keep it going. I'm able to freely let the energy flow. So this is just some life hacks that I've learned across my journey. And the funny thing is, about everything I just said, what I've noticed now that I'm a content creator and I have people reaching out to me every single day, telling me about their XRP journey and everything that happened, I've noticed that a lot of people that are attracted and pulled to XRP have already done all that mental work, have already done all that belief upgrade work. So it's just funny how it all plays out. So just wanted to add that. So what I've experienced also is people that don't like paying people, usually most of them that I know end up having money problems. So they don't want to pay anyone else. The universe doesn't pay them. And through my experience with the jobs that I've worked, it's so obvious. You have to control your focus. What you focus on is what you're gonna get. So if you're focusing on a lack, there's not enough money coming to me, so I can't pay this person, you're in scarcity mindset. You need to evolve to abundant thinking, because there's always more to give, and the universe always has more to give.